Greetings and salutations to all you folks out there. I gotta say, I am terribly sorry I have not gotten you a cast, although I have tried repeatedly, and either through my own stupidity or unforeseen technological difficulties, I have failed for a couple of days in a row to get one out. So I do apologize for that, but I do have a 3 versus 3 on White Fire for you, and I hope it is a great game. It was recommended to me by someone who usually turns in good replays, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the teams, and we'll get started, and then I may ramble for just a minute about what's been going on, but we will get the game kicked off before I do so. On the northern side, we have Luminario going Seraphim. That is Rex going UEF, and another Seraphim for Marshmallow. This is a kind of sort of low-ranked game. We've got 1,312 and then 2 7s and 2 9s. So it is a very well-balanced game, if a little bit on the low end. On the southern side, we have Sambadagio. I'm going to call him Sam. I hope I got that name right. Damiani, and last but certainly not least, Brownie Amiga. That is 2 Cyberns and an Aeon. Alrighty, the map is White Fire. I'm sure most of you know it. There are a ton of wrecks on this map. T3 Naval Factory, several Exodus class, some frigates. More on the other side. There is so much mass. You can pretty much do whatever you want early. There's a near infinite supply. Okay, so while we're watching the engineers expand and everyone get reclaim and do expansion and economy thingamajiggers, just to let you know what's been going on in my life and why there hasn't been a video, on Thursday I got parts for my computer. I actually got a new SSD, a Kingston 240 gig, and a clean installation of Windows 8.1. That is an upgrade from an old laptop 5200 RPM 500 gigabyte hard drive. And yes, it was atrocious. The thing, when I was transferring my files, the transfer rate from the old drive was between 15 and 25 megabytes per second, which is horrendous. The new drive that I have is capable of 450, I think, on continuous transfer. So yeah, there was that, and then of course the boot speed. It took me like 2 minutes to get booted up to where the desktop was usable, whereas with this drive it's about 15 seconds to completely done with everything related to the boot. So that is amazing, and my computer runs much better. But between working on my PC with a couple other parts that came in and then installing Windows and everything else that was going on, I didn't really have time for a cast that night. Aurora is on the move. That is the first combat units, apparently, and we've got anti-air out covering the shores over here. That is probably to prevent any early bombers, which you would assume would be coming, but as we can see, are not. These Auroras are accompanied by a Land Scout, which is definitely something you need to do. As you guys already know, especially if you watch the tutorial videos that I was doing, the Aurora's attack range is greater than its vision range, so you have to have that radar to use the Auroras to their greatest potential. Anyway, so on Friday, I sat down and got ready to do a cast, and a lot of you guys have been asking about 60 frames per second, which I said was kind of pointless, and yeah, anyway, but a disturbing amount of people actually were asking about 60 frames per second. So I finally decided, well, I can do this. So I bumped my settings to 60 frames per second, ran a test on the desktop, and it worked out okay. So I casted a game. 30 minutes later, I get in and the file is corrupted, so I could not use the cast. So I tried again, a total of an hour trying to cast, and it still came out corrupted. And I kept trying to figure out with this video why it was coming out corrupted the entire time. I think it is something to do with either my hardware configuration or the Supreme Commander game itself. I'm not sure, because I can record in other games at 60 frames per second, but the Supreme Commander videos always come out corrupted from my casting software. If I cast in 60 frames per second. So apparently, I don't know what it is, but that's not doable. So yesterday I was tweaking with that. I think I spent probably an hour and a half to 2 hours total trying to figure out why 60 frames per second would not work. So I'm back with 30 frames per second, and that was Yeah, that was my day yesterday. And then today, some of you saw there was 150 views on it. I actually did get a successful cast out of a Pyramids game, and I completely forgot to snip the first 20 seconds, so the audio was about 22 seconds off of what the video was, and yeah, I deleted that video. So here is the White Fire cast. Hopefully this one will be successful. Alright, Zooey Spam. That is the name of the game here. We've got 2 Seraphim players on the northern side, and these guys are spamming the ever-living hell out of Zooies. We've got about 35 Zooies out on the right-hand side, but Damiani is doing his teammate a tremendous amount of good by blocking those with Auroras and Frigates, although he's going to have to withdraw due to the fact that Rex is coming in with his Navy. And now on the left-hand side, we have Navy and Zooies. There's about 20 Zooies coming southward for Damiani's base, and Damiani, to be honest, is going to have a hard time stopping them, but luckily his teammate is also supporting him. Amiga has 3 frigates and a Salem out at the front, and since Damiani had to pull back, we now have Auroras on the shore. Sam is going to be in a bit of trouble. Damiani has lost a Tech 2 Mass Extractor, but he is flooding the area with Auroras, and that Salem is also going to be a tremendous bonus, and those are going to go down after minor damage to the power grid and the loss of 1 Mass Extractor. So that was a lot of distraction, a lot of a little bit of chaos. Wow, that was an odd pronunciation. But Damiani is going to come out relatively unscathed, and he does have an Exodus in the water and enough Auroras to deny any further arty incursions. And then down here we have a very ill-timed Tech 2 factory upgrade. This was a tremendous mistake. I hope Sam watches this video because he needs to hear this. When you upgrade to a Tech 2 factory, that means your production goes down for the entire time of that upgrade, and then until your first unit comes out. When you have a continuous flood of artillery coming down, it is more important to stop the artillery than to get the Tech 2 upgrade. So you should continue building frigates until you get about a dozen or so frigates, enough that you can easily stop the artillery spam, and then go to Tech 2. The Tech 2 factory does you no good when it is dead. Over here on the left hand side, Damiani and Brownie are working together against this huge that was probably 55 Zooies easily that came in, but thankfully between the frigates and those Auroras, they were able to be dealt with. There is a Valiant over here, but the 2 Exodus classes are going to knock it out of the game pretty easily. And then these need to be moved. You got to move your Salems around so they do not sit in one spot and take arty fire. Down here on the right hand side in the bottom, Sam is going to lose practically his entire base to Zooey Spam. That is always a depressing thing to see. Damiani, having gotten a handle on this situation over here, is finally going to be able to shift some units over to the right side. He has cut off the supply of artillery, but unfortunately there is already a significant group in the back. There are 4 frigates out in the water though, and those are going to be able to knock out all of those artillery and then move to the front to help with the rest. We've got Tech 2 subs in the water that is going to be able to kill off these naval factories pretty easily without taking damage from the artillery that's on the surface. And something else I'm not sure if you guys saw, there was a Tech 2 destroyer over here. Not sure where the wreck went. Luminario, if you watch this, you need to hear the Seraphim Tech 2 destroyers will lose 100% of the time in a tort battle versus Cybern destroyers. So submerging your ship actually hurts you. You need to stay surfaced and micro back and forth to dodge the shots of the Salem, and you will beat it if you're on top of the water hitting with your direct fire weapons. So submerging the Seraphim destroyer is a mistake in most cases against other Tech 2 Navy unless you're UEF. Okay, we've got frigates in the base now. They're going to try to zap that Tech 2 Mass Extractor. Not sure if they'll get it, but they did successfully stem the tide of artillery. There is a Tech 2 factory up here. He's producing torp bombers, and as we've discussed before, the Seraphim Tech 2 torp bombers are atrocious. You do not want to use those things. They are affected by torpedo defense. Again, if you watch the tutorial series on the air units, there was a full description in there of how the torpedo system works and why that is the case. This, honestly, I would suggest building Tech 2 transports with their very high carrying capacity and dropping the artillery down here behind the defensive structures of the enemy. We are seeing excellent work done by the navies, though. These guys are knocking out all of the naval production from everyone down to one Tech 2 factory. Excuse me, severe lack of oxygen. I'm going to start saying, instead of I yawned, I'm just going to say I have an oxygen deficiency. Okay, and so that is the last of the Navy. On the left-hand side, there is a single lonely Tech 2 naval factory on the right, but I think even that is going to go down pretty quickly here. I love the comeback from the Southern team. They very nearly got swept aside by artillery, but it looks like they have come back. These engineers are going to come over. I need to reclaim with them, man. Put one engineer on building mass extractors and set the rest to reclaim to get your eco back online as quickly as possible. And something else that I love about this is the Aurora spam. Since when do you see Aurora spam at 22 minutes on a naval map? But it is working brilliantly as an artillery denial tool. I love it. I love it. All of the Tech 2 torpedo bombers have been eliminated. There's a Tech 3 air factory, but it is about to die. I think the Exoduses are killing it. Not a single ASF has gotten out, and that is going to go down. Hover tanks coming out right there trying to do battle, but the Auroras are going to drive them back. The Auroras actually do outrange the Riptides. The Riptides do have high damage potential though, so they are going to kill those and begin moving against the Exodus classes. There's a Tech 2 support. That's not going to do you much good without an HQ. Tech 2 transport coming online, and Tech 3 upgrade, I think. We might actually see a comm drop. Great. I will look forward to it and watch it with glee. And I don't mean the musical. Let's see. Southern side has somewhat recovered. Sam is on a whopping 17 mass income. Rex on 24. He's getting an ACU upgrade. Not sure which one that is. ACU drop covered by a huge amount of interceptors. I do believe that is going to be successful. Looks like he's going to drop behind Brownie's base. And we've got all of these Salems in Exodus class. It looks like they're targeted directly on that commander. This guy's going to drop down, throw down a shield, throw up point defense. He's going to need to get radar though so that he can see for his point defense to attack the enemy base. Then we've got hits landing on this ACU. He's running to the water, but I don't think it's going to do him any good. He's got Tech 2 subs right next to him. That's going to leech the life away from him. We got radar going up down here. Point defense is not quite in reach, and there goes the ACU. Kablooey. It is now 2 versus 3. 2 versus 3. My mouse is going to be correct. And we have ASF online in great quantity on the north. So I think air control is very strong with the northern side. There's interceptors down here in this corner, ASF up here, and the torpedo bombers are going to start shredding everything. But these pesky Auroras are going to come in and kill the energy storage. So this ACU is no longer going to have overcharge. That is a fairly serious loss. Not something you want to have happen. He's throwing up another shield generator. I believe he does have RAS. Yes, he does. He's pulling 7k power off of 2 T2P gens. So unless he's got some kind of weird cheat enabled, I'm pretty sure that's RAS. He is going to get forced back slightly though because there are Salems on the shoreline. The ACU drop was a brave move, but I don't think it's going to work out well for him in the end. The ACU is going to run towards the back end. The ACU, of course, is a whole lot faster than the Salems. Those interceptors going to get shot down by all these. He may get back to his transport. He may not. I'm not sure. We've got interceptor movement over here blocking the exit. Got a Tech 2 artillery installation going down. The Salems are kind of stalled at the moment. And we have Omen-class battleships moving out, accompanied by cruisers and aircraft carriers for anti-air coverage. Salems are going to move up and start laying down fire on these artillery installations. It's not going to work out for Luminario. He is going to get in his transport. ASF coming in to engage the interceptor cloud. Don't stay there. Oh, transport's down. ACU is stuck all by his lonesome versus 7 Salems. I don't think there's any way he's going to get out of that, and I am correct. There he goes. Kaboom. Only one player left, and that is Marshmallow. He's got 3 strats coming in, though. 2, 1, none. Damiani was able to get some ASF online, probably out of these aircraft carriers. I do believe. I did not see them actually exit the aircraft carriers, but that is the only place they could have come from. And Strat Bombers coming south now. Marshmallow is going to control K. That is the end. Southern team wins. All right, that was a really good game. I like the teamwork shown by the Southern side. That is a classic example. If they had not helped each other, the Northern team would have won very early. That artillery spam was really strong. It would have wiped out the right-hand side probably around the 9 or 10 minute mark. And then these two guys working together to eliminate the naval production over here and then working over towards the right. So it's a classic example of teamwork versus a strong early build. And when the strong early build fails and they've expended all of those resources on the combat units which failed in their task, then you're going to end up with a win for the coordinated team. Alright, that's going to wrap it up for this game. Again, guys, sorry I have been a little bit lacking on the cast over the last couple of days, but hopefully all of this problems are solved, situations are resolved, and everything will be fine from here on out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will catch you in the next one.